Hey everyone, and welcome back. Today I'm going to be reviewing the new Netflix sci-fi drama Another Life, which just hit the streamer. I love a good sci-fi show, and the trailer for this really had me intrigued. Another Life stars Katee Sackhoff, who sci-fi fans will know best from Battlestar Galactica. She was a big draw for me as I loved her on BSG when it was on. It also stars Hoechlin, who you know from Teen Wolf and his current gig as Superman in the DC shows on the CW. Rounding out the cast is Selma Blair, who's always a plus. The show's about what happens after aliens land a ship on Earth. They call it the Artifact, and once it lands, nothing happens, which is cause for concern. 6 months after this happens and no further activity has occurred, Katy's character is called back into duty to go into space. Their idea is to go where the ship came from and try to initiate first contact. The crew of the expedition are put into cryosleep for the duration of the trip, and when an obstacle presents itself, Katy is awakened. She finds out that there's a large cloud of dark matter blocking their direct path to the alien planet. She realizes that they're going to have to navigate around the cloud in order to reach their destination. Katy brings the rest of the crew out of their sleep so that they can work together. Back on Earth, Katy's husband, played by Justin Chatwin, who you may know from earlier seasons of Shameless, works as a scientist examining the artifact. He's also raising he and Katy's daughter alone. So first initial thoughts are that we've seen this type of plotline before, but I'm okay with that. I like most of the cast and I love a good sci-fi adventure. Some of the downfalls though were some pretty bad looking CGI when the artifact landed on Earth. I was actually pretty surprised at how cheap it looked, considering the rest of the show was very cinematic looking, and the space scenes in particular looked fantastic. Another thing I was a little disappointed in was that it turned into your cliche pretty people in space show when you got to meet the crew. This is probably the least professional gang of people ever. It's made up of 20-somethings who all have their own drama. I could have done without that. I guess I prefer the crew to be more military-like or something. This just seemed like a frat party on board a spaceship. But I'm willing to give it a little time to build though. The show definitely gets dramatic though as Katy and Tyler Hoechlin's character clash on board the spaceship over Katy's decisions as the leader. Tyler's character has been in charge of the ship for a long time and feels like he knows it best, and then Katy comes in and takes over. The tension rises and Tyler stages a takeover and Katy's thrown back into cryosleep. Tyler's character has the crew reattempt the slingshot around a star, which Katy had originally said not to. The ship's second chance at a slingshot goes horribly wrong though when a solar flare takes out their FTL drive, which essentially will leave them stranded with no means of travel, and the ship is ripping apart. The chief engineer wakes Katy up from her sleep so she can save the ship. Now meanwhile back on Earth, Katy's husband figures out a way to possibly communicate with the artifact. Back in space, Katy saves the ship, but it leaves them somewhat stranded. Most of the systems of the ship are offline, including their connection to Earth. In the end, she orders them to get the ship back up and running so they can get back on mission. Now the episode ends with a pretty surprising twist that I can honestly say I did not see coming at all, which definitely made me want to watch more. It pretty much changed the tone of the show. I'm not going to spoil it, but it was pretty intense. Now overall, I'd say that I liked the pilot outside a few little cons, but it has potential and I'm really interested in seeing where the season takes us. I'll do another video when I'm finished with my thoughts on the series, but as for now, I think it's for sure something you might enjoy and worth watching at least the first episode. There are a ton of shows dropping on Netflix and other streaming platforms this weekend, so you may be busy, but I wouldn't dismiss this show at all.